It's more than medicine, the life-saving power of human connection. Very early in my life, it was too late. Margaret Joyce. So I grew up in chaos. By the age of 15, I was out on my own. On my 17th birthday, I awoke in a maximum security youth prison where one moment would change my life. It was my birthday, it was June 8th, 1998, and it was summer. I was walking through the courtyard, handcuffed, beside my fellow inmates, and the sun shone through the barbed wire fence, really right into my eyes. It pierced me. And in that moment, I made a life-changing choice that would alter the course of my entire life. I decided that never again would I ever be in the kind of trouble that had characterized my life for so many years. I was heavily addicted. I was constantly in trouble. I was always on the verge of being kicked out of school. And at that moment, I didn't know what the rest of my life would look like, but I knew what it would not look like because I would never allow it again. So 27 years have passed since that fateful day in 1998. I have 3 degrees. I have traveled to 18 countries. I've lived in 8 outside of Canada. I've worked in health and wellness, in business development. I'm a certified life coach, a certified Reiki instructor. But why does any of this matter? How does someone who witnessed violence, who left home at the age of 15, who is constantly addicted, living in denial, in a lot of anger, how does someone create an adult life that reads so differently from her young life? And the reason it matters for our talk today is because it's human connection. There are so many reasons why I made it, but every single reason why is underlined by one thing, and that is human connection. Human connection showed me that there was a different way to live my life than what I had seen. I had seen dysfunction, I had seen toxicity, and that was the data that my brain, and more than that, my nervous system had taken in. So these human connections that I'm going to take you through are things that taught me that there was a different way to live. They gave me hope, they gave me understanding that I could become someone. I didn't have to follow the path of what I was shown. I could become someone so different. So the first connection I'm going to take you through is my very first boyfriend. He would stay on the phone with me the entire night to make sure that I was okay. He started school later than me, so I would wake up in the morning knowing he was on the line there, and I just felt safe. The second thing was the friend group that I grew up with. I've always thought that I had some unlucky cards in terms of, my cards at birth, but I got really lucky in terms of my peers. There were people that I grew up with whose families took me in like their own daughter. I would watch as the parents interacted and see, okay, a marriage doesn't have to sound the way that I've heard. I would watch as my friends would walk into rooms, their parents would smile. I'd think, okay, there are ways to live positively in this world. Most families are loving, I learned, though imperfect. That wasn't what I had seen. The very last connection I'm going to take you through can be best characterized by a quote by Philip Wiley, who's a psychologist. And he says, "One good teacher in a lifetime may sometimes turn a delinquent into a solid citizen." In the 11th grade, my guidance counselor got tired of me. She was tired of my outbursts, she was tired of my behavior. Okay. The thing is, I needed a guidance counselor to help me be able to sign myself out for appointments if I wasn't feeling well at school. I needed someone, but she wouldn't have me anymore. So I asked another teacher if she would take me on. She said yes. This woman mentored me for 3 years. She fought with the principals at school not to kick me out. She taught me about life. She taught me that there was a different way. One key moment stands out. It was the time that I was in jail at 17. She had always told me, if you really need me, call me collect. Look me up in the phone book and call me collect. This was the 90s, for reference. I don't think that would happen today, but this was the 90s, right? Okay. So I'm in jail, and we can't make any calls during the day. We can only make calls at night. I have to call her at home. It was right towards the end of my school year, and I wasn't going to be able to make it back for my final exams. I was almost dead inside, but not quite dead inside that I didn't care if I didn't get 4 credits, because that would really put me back a lot. So I called her collect. She asked me 2 things, both of which made me sad, but made me really happy. She said, number 1, are you scared? Yes, I'm scared. I'm in a maximum security prison. I'm 17. Yeah, I'm scared. Number 2, right? She said to me, what do you need? I said, I need to get my credits. Like, if I can't take these exams, I'm going to lose 4 of them. She went to work the next day and got me all of my credits, even though I was nowhere near passing them. I wouldn't have gotten them. So, and I do have someone I went to high school with in this room. The school that I went to, pun intended, gave us no get out of jail free cards in the 90s. So I was like even though I had been going through what I had been going through, I wasn't really given any leeway. There was this one moment where every teacher said, yeah, she passes. So that changed my life because I said to myself, I'm gonna take the money and run. If they're giving me this one opportunity, I'm actually going to take it. A year from then, I was an honor roll student. I was offered scholarships all across Canada to go to university. So why does any of this matter when we talk about burnout and enterprise, right? I know the life-saving power of human connection. It changed my life. And I strongly feel as if the world is feeling a sense of burnout right now collectively in so many ways. Is anyone willing to share if they've ever gone through burnout, if they've ever experienced that in their lives? So burnout is characterized by like unhinged stress at work, chronic stress at work. Would anyone like to share? I kind of saw you, no?
I'm like, are you looking at me?
Anyway, is there anyone?
I'm living in burnout now.
Okay.
Yeah. Divorce, company, decided, 2 teenagers, and decided to just drop everything, call it quits, and I haven't worked in 2 years because I'm living burnout right now.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
You will.
Because you're my bud.
That's it. We'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? No? Okay, so in terms of burnout, one of the things that I know is that human connection is a barricade to burnout. It is like a way to make your system feel safe, to help you with your cortisol, your stress release, all of it, right? And what I believe is that modern society right now is literally sending us the message that human relationships are not key anymore in both covert and overt ways. So I came up with 6 ways that modern society tricks us into thinking relationships don't matter. Number 1 is productivity over people. Hustle culture glorifies grinding, overworking, and being busy as badges of honor. In many cases, success is measured solely in money, personal titles. For example, how many of you get the question, what do you do? And how many times do you get the question, what do you care about? Tell me about yourself. That's very telling. Number 2 is tech and social media. We're surrounded by online connections, but how many of those connections are actually authentic relationships? You have clicks over connection. You have dating app culture, which I do call swipe a person, right? We have algorithms that push us to comparison and insecurity. Next is individualism and consumerism. The modern narrative is you should be okay doing everything yourself. Do not rely on people. You should be okay not having to rely on people. Loneliness equals voids, which if you actually think about it, equals opportunities to consume as a consumer. Profit first, people last models do not just tolerate disconnection, they benefit from it. And building identity through allegiance to brands, not community. Show who you are through what you buy. As a high school teacher, I see that a lot. Many times I've seen, especially Gen Z struggle with that. Workplace culture, many workplaces expect 24/7 availability. Guilt ensues for people that prioritize their friendships and their relationships. And relational needs such as communication, as camaraderie, teamwork are seen as soft skills rather than the very things that help build healthy workplaces. Media and popular culture. Media, movies and shows glamorize the lone wolf who's independent and made it alone. Relationships these days are often shown, romance and friendship is often shown as being wrought with turmoil and drama. The normalization of isolation is the last one I would like to talk about. The pandemic forced isolation, but isolation post-pandemic has become normalized. An example is the work from home. There's many benefits to working from home, absolutely, I feel it too. But we can't deny that it forces a sense of isolation, right? It can be very isolating. Loneliness is impacting every generation collectively in diverse ways. Matthew and I in our company, Fix Your Fate, have been doing on-the-street interviews. One thing that's been amazing for us is to see every single generation from boomers all the way down to Gen Z is dealing with their own sets of problems relationally. What's the common thread? Loneliness and frustration. So, relational connections are not observed as the default anymore. One needs to go out and find them. What you do is more important than who you're with. That's the message we're being sent. So human connections are an armor against burnout. There's biological benefits of human connection. I'll just go through 1 or 2. Relationships influence gene expression patterns. Positive relationships protect long-term physical health. Human connections buffer from stress and disease. The list goes on. And there's some. So my personal belief is that the key to health is preventative. The time to focus on getting yourself into optimal holistic health is not when something happens, it's before. If we know that positive, stable, authentic, cohesive human relationships are a part of optimal health, Why are we not focusing on them so intently right now? So that's where, and Matthew went into a little bit of it, but you've heard the basic story about fix your fate, but we are literally on a mission to revive human connection. We believe that this is one of the biggest problems that the world is seeing right now. Matthew went through the methods and the ways that we're looking to solve it, but our company really is built in a spirit of service, and we would love to connect with you and hear from you now or ongoingly about your own relationship struggles, even just what you think and what you feel. We're here for that. So for me, I'm also a coach, just like Matthew. There's some of my certifications there. He's already gone through all that. We have KK right here, who's going to be a series regular and something on our podcast called Freedom 45. And we have Carolina, who's our next podcast guest coming. I'd like to close with a quote that seems very odd, but I'll explain it. So I've long enjoyed the Halloween movies with Michael Myers since I was a child. And one thing I've always said to my friends is that my youth felt like a horror movie, literally. Like that feeling was embodied in my body, in my mind, in my soul. And the other day, I don't know what came over me, but I felt like I wanted to watch one of these Halloween movies. I don't know if it's maybe that it's turning to fall or whatever it is, right? So I'm watching Halloween Ends, and Jamie Lee, the main character who's been tormented by Michael Myers her entire life, has this quote. She says, "I have run from you, I have chased you, I have tried to contain you, and I've tried to forgive you." I have gone through every single one of those phases in relation to the cards that I was dealt. But one thing stands true for me, and it stands true for her, which is why I use this as an example. I had to choose whether to let that monster into my mind. But then I had to go further and not let it into my body. What are the signifiers of how I do that? I had to build myself from the ground up and create a roadmap for myself to not let that horror dictate my life. And it's a pretty great life. And so I think that Matthew ends off with, let's connect. I'd like to end off with the same thing. And thank you.
Thank you.